Our takeoff was from the Naval Air Station at Anacostia in Washington, D.C. on a clear and peaceful morning. We were flying a Navy Neptune P2V anti-sub patrol bomber on our way across the Atlantic. It felt good to get out in the clean, open, free air, because up there you get a kind of good feeling. You're able to do a little something extra for your country in peacetime and have some fun doing it. Below us, a new continent, Africa, and a new adventure. And we were among old friends, almost the same crew back again. It was good to get back in the Navy. We had come halfway around the world to an obscure airstrip in North Africa. Right off, we had a bit of excitement just as we touched down. Watch that left tire on the landing run. So that was our explosive welcome to the biggest little airport in Africa. But everybody relaxed again in a few minutes when we got our official welcome. It had been a pretty long haul for us part-time sailors, and we were kind of bushed, but it was a satisfying kind of being tired. We were among buddies doing something useful, from civilian life back in the States yesterday to Navy life in North Africa today. That's the exciting career in the United States Navy, either regular or reserve, travel, friends, something happening all the time. Heading for quarters to settle down, we knew that we'd sleep tonight. That was for sure. But the following morning found us up and at 'em, busy at the airplane, shaping it up for maneuvers. 3 of my buddies, weekend warriors like myself, are working for Uncle Sam before we take a little time off for ourselves. On one wing of the Neptune, lover boy McBride checks out the radar and our searchlights. Making sure of the P2V's firing power, its bombs and rockets and machine guns, is our chief interpreter and chief bargaining agent, Schaefer. And there's Chris. He's our gourmet. He works up an appetite at one of the plane's twin engines. It'll be through their eyes that we will see many of the fabulous sights of this old world. Later in the day, we set out for Rabat, the half-modern, half-ancient city just south of legendary Casablanca. One of the first things that impressed us was the huge arch that led to the present Sultan's fortress in Rabat. Well, they say that American sailors are the world's greatest tourists, and believe me, we toured the modern section of the city. Department stores, the one Western church, and apartment buildings, hotels, utility buildings, office structures, government quarters, and military headquarters. And one thing that amazed us was the city's clean, wide streets and boulevards. As Chris said, look at all the foreign cars. How did they get here? At the modern railroad station, we got our first hint of an older order. And we entered a timeless, often incongruous, walled city within a city, the Medina, the native quarter. The first thing we discovered in the Medina was that there was plenty of two-wheeled transportation available. But we decided to walk through anyway. And right smack in the middle of nowhere, we saw a sign of home. As we continued on, we noticed the streets were all cobblestone, very narrow and winding. The native dress was part Western, part Eastern. Some men wearing suits, and others wearing long gowns. The women, of course, wore veils. This, we found out, was a custom that was centuries old. As we stopped to haggle for souvenirs, we saw that no matter where in the world you are, kids are all pretty much alike. Kids and crowds, all watching while the camera grinds away. You know, it looked just like Main Street, USA during a rush hour. Where East meets West. Where young meets old. And where greetings mean the same in any language. Walking on, we started thinking about a movie. And just like downtown, we found one. Even if we couldn't understand all the words, we did recognize the stars. Having seen the picture on the Late Late Show back home, we kept right on going. It was real pleasant walking through an area like this, so many thousands of miles from home, on a sunny day, just watching the natives going about their business. We were completely relaxed, having an ice cream cone, shopping, or just looking. Just passing the time away doing nothing. Up ahead, we noticed a crowd had begun to gather. It was approaching the traditional prayer hour. We didn't know it, but we were in for a rare opportunity, watching the Sultan himself with his entire procession on the way to his private mosque. And of course, we got some wonderful shots of all of this. The Sultan in his fine royal carriage, some of his royal palace guard on horseback, and many of the loyal subjects lining the way. We thought this was kind of cute. The Sultan's own pretty little daughter in her own pony cart. The crowd by this time was getting pretty enthusiastic. Excitement was at a fever pitch. Notice this woman in the foreground, almost like a college cheerleader. As the prayers came to an end, the Sultan presented himself to his people astride his own stallion. And the Sultana, got a ride home in the Royal Coach. It certainly was an impressive and colorful sight. And all of us felt lucky to get it on film as a memorable part of our travels. Or as the Navy says, join up and see the world. We noticed quite a few tourists like ourselves here in Morocco, mostly American servicemen, with all the branches represented and, of course, all with cameras. The festivities, it seemed, weren't over yet. Anywhere in the world, everybody loves a parade, and this was no exception. We followed the procession along with everybody else because nobody can resist a stirring marching band. But what really got us was the march that this native outfit was playing. Listen. And as the palace guard marches off, see if you can watch the leader of the band waving his big sword. This is really a cutoff. Closing out a great day, the native drum corps kept a steady rhythm going at the flag ceremony. We reloaded our cameras and caught this authentic background of the fine pageantry. Truly a different kind of tourist travel. Well, next morning, bright and early, the Navy put us back to work. We were heading for the 6th Fleet maneuvers in the Mediterranean. We were firing rockets. Those targets represent enemy submarines. The skipper's aim was as good as ever. Mission completed. The well done from the skipper. And now off to Italy, and the historic city of the Seven Hills.